תשומת הלב. I fully agree with you regarding the immune system. I think that we, in the security industry, should take the immune system as a model of success. First of all, it's collaborative. It looks at many sources of information, and also it has very low false positive. And when it tells you that something is wrong, usually it's something very serious. Of course, sometimes it has some problems with autoimmune, but in general, it's really a great model for us how security system should function. With that, I would like to conclude with our last speaker for today. I would like to invite Udi Mokady. Udi is the founder, the president, and the CEO of CyberArk. Udi was one of the first pioneers of privileged account security, and since founding CyberArk in 1999, he made CyberArk the leader of the privileged account management security. So please welcome Udi Mokady.
Thank you, Michal.
So, Udi, I would like to ask you one question. Since all the years that you have been in protecting privileged account, how is your company mission has changed recently in light of all the new threats that we have?
Great, thank you, Michal. And that's the topic today. We're in an ever-evolving industry, and CyberArk is very proud to be a market leader, but also a very adaptive company. And that's what I want to talk about today, how we've changed our mission and how we appeal to everybody to change yours. So my job as a global cybersecurity company is actually to worry. And that's what I do every day, and that's what we do all the time. And I think you appreciate me for that. So usually when I'm not spending time in conferences like this, we're here to help customers and partners really make sense of what's going on in this very hectic cyber world. Now the stakes are very high, and there were many examples here of why. But beyond that, the reason I'm worried is because many customers, many prospects take a project siloed approach to security. And when we look at how the attackers are sophisticated, compliance-driven projects are not securing our customers. And so what we speak about is stop talking about security projects and think in the concept of programs. Now, our world is all about protecting the inside of enterprises against credential theft, escalation of privileges, and full account takeover. What does it mean to lose control of the business? Losing control over the IT is losing control of the business. Businesses run on IT. Every modern business, even a trucking company, is running on IT. And let's look at some examples of what does it mean to lose control. We have recently a hospital in LA where due to ransomware, they lost control over the digital assets, their email, many of their digital records, healthcare records. They even forced to have their people hospitalized move to other places. The patients had to move, and they eventually paid the ransomware to get paid the hijackers in order to get the ransomware out of their system. Losing control is what happened at Sony, where they had to build their network from scratch, even moving to manual paper-based processes until they got that in place. And recently, the SWIFT credential theft led to full control as if insiders were operating inside the network and loss of control over financial transactions based on SWIFT. Last year, the Office of Personnel Management was hacked in one of the largest breaches ever. More than 20 million records of federal employees were stolen, but not just renewable records that maybe you can call and change. You can't change your fingerprint. 5.6 million fingerprint records were stolen. So that's kind of what it looks like to lose control. Our mission over the years has really changed. When we started CyberArk, we were happy to please customers who were going for compliance-based projects. It got them the funding, they got rolled out, they had credit from their auditors, the CIO was happy, and everybody moved on. But what we saw is that compliance is far from being security. and the attackers were being more sophisticated and more operating on the inside of the networks. And so we've adapted. And we took our privileged account security and turned it into a platform that takes into account that the attacker is operating from the inside of the network, stealing credentials and moving laterally to take over the enterprise. And adapted it to create a new layer on the inside of the enterprises, and that's the mindset from which we created this platform inside organizations. To do so, we had to achieve, and this is our goal, is to limit the damage of an attacker that made it inside and working like an insider, to prevent lateral and stop lateral movement, because that's how, once you infiltrate a network, you steal credentials, you move from laptop to server, and try to work your way up with escalating privileges, to halt that credential theft of that constant movement, contain the threat, and to avoid the complete network takeover, like in the Sony example, where basically domain controllers are taking over, the passport authority of the organization has been taken over, and full control is lost. And so the CyberArk mission has become to really help our customers build and maintain trust in their IT systems. And to do that, we had to change. First and foremost, I'm very proud to be standing here in Israel. We established CyberArk as an Israeli company, and our global headquarters is not far from here. In part of our adapting the way we work and to the way the attackers are working, we actually changed our R&D to work in an agile development format, and we took it to the extreme. CyberArk is now considered one of the best practices in working in agile development. Many other vendors come to consult with us on how we make it happen. Work interactively with customers to come out with customers fast, and addressing real customer needs. And we've expanded our offering from proactive protection and really putting controls over credentials, aggressively rotating credentials, to also understanding the ability to detect the attacker that already holds on to a credential, or somebody that came off through a third party with strong access, so that we can detect it and stop it. Beyond our organic development, CyberArk went public in 2014. And 2015, our first year as a public company, we made 2 acquisitions, both of them here in Israel. Both had the R&D here in Israel, to expand our offering for the earlier part of the infection, to expand privileged account security to the endpoint, so that we can detect and stop the attacks earlier in the attack lifecycle, while trying to prevent the end goal of full control over the network. And we are collaborating closely with our 2,600 global customers. We have 40 of the Fortune 100 and more than 20% of the Global 2,000, very sophisticated customers that are living this changing landscape, so that we can adapt to how they're adapting and changing their continuous adoption of cloud assets, and giving them a hybrid solution for both their on-premise and cloud-based assets. And collaborating is also alliances, and I think the speakers before me highlighted that a lot. In just a few weeks ago, we announced our global technology program called the C-Cubed Alliance, in which is very bi-directional. We created a fabric where there's a central way to manage privileged credentials. Privileged credentials are also in security systems. If you're able to capture the administrative console of a security product, you can just open the gate. But we also made it bi-directional, with integration where we can feed alerts, we can also collect alerts, so that our customers can do a 1 + 1 = 3 with the other investments that they made. And by the way, these are some of our partners. We've also integrated with the companies that spoke here before us, with the IBM QRadar and various products from Checkpoint. So we're big believers that there's no one silver bullet, and that our goal is to make our customers secure by also creating a secure fabric together. Beyond these things, I talked about agile development. Another area in our company that we put on steroids, as we like to call it, is the CyberArk Labs, that operates here in Israel, and have the authority and are empowered to think like the attacker. Investigate attacks and investigate solutions thinking like the attacker. Imagine an attacker is already inside the network in a post-breach scenario, how would an attacker propagate, how would they advance their attack, and come up with solutions. So we deconstructed the Ukraine attack to understand how that happened. We looked after the Bangladesh and the SWIFT attacks, and how credential theft happened there. And of course, how can we better help our customers protect against the effects of ransomware, leveraging our recent acquisitions with solutions from the endpoint, and not just limiting the ability to infect the network, but actually limiting the ability of the ransomware to get to the encryption of files on the network. And we're also researching areas that have to do with risk-based in other systems, and we recently announced and disclosed a weakness that we found in the ability to go after security logs and not just come with privileged access and delete them, but also tamper with them, even tamper with security logs that have been trusted up until now. So these are some of the things that CyberArk did to adapt and change. But the mission to change is for all of us here, and I quickly want to run through a few things. We could certainly have to get into this paradigm shift that the attacker is operating from within the network and in a post-breach scenario. For some companies, it's a little eerie to think about it this way, but it's the only way. So we have to outthink and out-clever and out-maneuver these sort of attackers under this paradigm of the attackers are already on the inside. So what does it mean? What is the organizational shift that is required from it? So for our customers, it really means to think as programs and not in siloed projects. Think about it as a long-term, continuous work that has to be done to secure the enterprise. Don't think that compliance is security. The auditor is not the enemy. The auditor is often on your side and is pointing a little flashlight or a regulation, but the regulation is, the hackers are reading the regulations too. That's not security. And of course, push the various vendors to collaborate. I think that was spoken a lot here. I would say that my ask to customers is to never trust a silver bullet solution, but rather a collaborative approach between vendors. And to the vendors in the crowd, we have to really acknowledge one thing that I thought would come up a lot more today, because I hear it a lot from customers. There's a humongous shortage of staff, humongous shortage of security professionals. I'm very excited about some of the things that are happening here in Israel to do things about it. Of course, we have the great programs that come out of the military, but also the great programs that are now entering high school. But this is just the tip of the iceberg. There's a huge shortage of millions of jobs out there for security. So as vendors, we have to help our customers with more automation, with more solutions that work better together, and not force them to even be more behind on the staff shortage. And of course, better integrate together in true integrations that work on the customer and tested on the customer side. So that's the prime thing that is required from vendors as we change and adapt to the mission. Many in the opening talked about Israelis being very direct, and it's part of the advantage. I wouldn't tell you that I'm less worried, but I'm very confident that if we call it what it is, if we're very open and transparent with our customers, if we take the approach, and even though it's eerie, that the attacker is already inside the network, we can be on a much better trajectory. This is what CyberArk does every day. We've adapted our mission. Go adapt yours. Thank you very much.